Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you're listening to the VMware Communities Roundtable podcast. This is podcast number 709. My name is Eric Nilsson, and with me today, I have my favorite co-host, Corey Romero. Today's Friday, December 13th, 2024. Corey, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Eric. Lots of snow here in Utah, and it's Friday the 13th.
Nice. Well, we're live streaming on YouTube V Barbecue. If you ever want to check us out, we're over there live streaming. We're also live streaming on the Code the Code YouTube channel, as well as I think the Community X channel as well, although I get a question mark on that one, so maybe not. But we're all over the place, and we post this on iTunes and on Spotify, so you can go check us out any of those channels. So Corey, it's exciting. We're coming into the holidays, and I know that vExpert apps are now up and running. Is that right?
Yeah, vExpert apps are open. They're going to close on January 10th. So I would definitely recommend reading the homepage of vexpert.vmware.com to learn how to qualify for the vExpert Award, how to ask for help, key dates, and program benefits. And on top of that, we have our first quarterly meeting coming up on January 13th with the vExpert Pros.
Very good. vExpert Pros are in your country, in your region, to help build out your application to be a vExpert. So
absolutely,
running as always, up and all goodness. So happy about that. On the show today, we're going to be talking about the 12 days of holiday happiness every year over the holiday season. If you got some downtime, we try to give you something that you can do that's a fun project, or either a coding project or some other learning project, so that you have something to do over the holidays in case you're bored, right? I know I like to geek out and do things that are fun to do, right? So that's what we're going to do this. And we have Franky Barragan from the Code program to tell us about what it is we're trying to do. But before we do that, I'll do a little weather here. From the standpoint of the weather, it is a beautiful day here in Northern California. It's raining and cold. So we do have rain, we do have winter, and it's chilly, and not cold like you guys get up there with snow. We're in the high 30s or early 40s, but Silicon Valley gets a Christmas season, and the leaves are falling, and it is wet and rainy. So we got our Christmas holiday season all ready to go, or what I call the holiday season. So with that, we'll get going. For news, the Connect VMUG Connect conference is live on vmug.com. You can go register for that event. They have not published their schedule of sessions and keynote speakers, but it is they're getting that ready to go. So look for what the venue is going to be, and who's going to be keynoting and stuff. It's going to be fairly technical, so they're trying to drill down and do a deeper dive on technical sessions, so kind of like level 200 type sessions for VCF, as well as some great community tracks. And so they're going to have a community track, a VCF track, and I forget what the third track is, but 3 tracks, and they'll be publishing that sometime in January. So look out for that. And if you're available in the Midwest, or you want to just fly in, it's a 2-day conference that I believe is April 24th and April 25th. So that should be good. This is a for-pay conference that will kind of replace a lot of the user cons in the Midwest. So I think there were like 6 user cons that they're not going to be doing this year, and in 2025 they're going to then have this VMUG Connect that'll happen in St. Louis. So St. Louis on the 24th and 25th. And if you're a VMUG leader and you're listening to this, you might get an invite. If you're from the American regions, you might get an invite for a day event before that on the 23rd to talk through how to build good chapters and do all of that. So that's coming up. We're excited about that. And let's see, I think that's about all I have for the news right now. So we can get into why are we doing a holiday thing, and what is the holiday thing going to be? So before we do that, let's talk up to Franky and say hello. Franky, where do you live, and how's the weather in your region?
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. I look out my little window here. It is raining. I'm located over in Maple Valley. It's about 30 minutes out from Seattle, and yeah, it's nice and rainy.
Nice.
There's not really much of a change. It is pretty cold in the morning. I think we're right in between of you, and definitely, yeah, we're not the level where Corey's at. Yeah.
So you run the code program, and today we're going to be talking about the 12 days of happiness. Is it 12 days? 12 days of holiday happiness, which is kind of a play on the 12 days of Christmas, but it's really kind of over the holiday. So we're just calling it the 12 days of holiday cheer. And this year, because VMUG Advantage requires you, if you want to do the eval experience and get the full VCF suite, you have to pass your VCP-VCF certification. So I think we thought, what a better way to actually spend a little bit of time brushing up on all your certs. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you did in order to get ready for this?
Yeah, definitely. So prior to, it was last year. I passed the VCP-DCV exam, and this year with these new certifications that came out, and what you just said, right, with the eval licenses and the expert applications being open, just a lot of there's a couple changes. But yeah, I was excited to try and attempt the administrator exam, and luckily, it was passed on the first try. So yeah, that it opens up opportunities for everybody else. I started seeing Matt Heltstad. I started seeing people in the community start passing the exam. So of course I didn't want to miss out. So attempted it. And my biggest thing is I don't have an environment. I don't really have a home lab. My home lab's kind of broken right now. The vCenter is not working, and I haven't had time to RDP into it and fix it. I also work on the marketing team now, so I don't really manage an environment. So those were challenges, right? And
that's fairly typical of a lot of people, right? A lot of people don't actually have home labs. They might have a production environment they're able to play with, but they wouldn't have that. Or if they do have a home lab, it's just running vSphere, right? ESX, when that's pretty much it with vCenter. And so the VCF requires you to do a bit more, right? So was that challenging for you? Had you spent time with the other stuff like ARIA and Tanzu and NSX, vSAN? I guess those are the four elements you'd have to spend time with.
Yeah, and again, that's the exciting part, because it's a challenge, right? Yes, my little home lab, it was just a single ESXi host running an embedded vCenter server with some little mini ESXi host. And when I was a customer, we definitely had the ARIA suite. Not all of the components in place, but we used the ARIA suite. There's vSAN as well. So yeah, I have a couple. I have some experience in a couple different areas, but I'm definitely not an expert in Tanzu, right? NSX, not an expert there. There's a couple of different components that, of course, worry me.
Most of us haven't spent any time with NSX, right? Had you spent any time with NSX?
A little bit, yeah. When we deployed VMware Cloud in AWS, you got to play around with it, but
you had definitely not that in place, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
But
so then you were basically starting with, oh my gosh, I don't know enough of this. And so what did you do to prep?
Yeah. So the very first thing, I remember a while back, they used to have the exam blueprints, and so prior to last year, in all these couple of years, and these blueprints would have links to help guide you, and so you can go and essentially go do the work as well, right? Go study. And this year they have the exam guide, right? That's on the page. So I took the exam guide. There are no links to it inside of it, and I just went kind of step by step. I eyed it and see what exactly I didn't feel comfortable with, and I just Googled it. And so yes, Googled some information, but then also luckily VMware Broadcom has the hands-on labs, and that team does a phenomenal job of keeping up to date with all these labs. And some of them have the entire VCF suite deployed. So I was able to just deploy it, and you get like an hour and a half right now to play around with it, and you don't have to follow any document that that they provide. You take your exam guide, you take the internet, and you find questions, and then you go around and you poke around through that environment, and you can break it. There's no problem at all, trying to break things, and because all it does is it tears it down and spins up another one if you do. But that's essentially it. Yeah. So it took a while, right? It definitely took a while, but hey, I didn't break anything production. I didn't break the dev environment. I didn't break my home lab, and I didn't spend money on purchasing things in order to deploy it. So I don't know, and that's what we're trying to do here, right?
So let me depack that or unpack that, I guess. So first thing you did was you went and found the exam guide. Where would the exam guide be?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put a link over here.
Yeah, just read it out for people that are listening on the podcast, because they're not going to see it.
Pretty long link. So
but just give us a general idea.
Yes, yeah. So if you just Google VCP-VCF, exam guide, it should be able to come up.
You should be able to find that. Yes. And then I guess so we should I'll just recertify my question here, which is you're doing the 12 days of happiness, right? The 12 days of holiday happiness. And I assume that the link will be in one of those tasks, like go, here is the exam guide, go look at it, right? And then I would assume on the third day of Christmas, it probably says, holiday, sorry, not allowed to say Christmas here, but on the third day of holiday happiness, right? You would, you probably say like, okay, now here's the HOL, go set up this HOL and start practicing with these things that you got from the exam guide. Is that kind of what the 12 days of happiness tasks are going to look like? Ish?
So ish, yeah, definitely ish, right? So from our conversations, right, I'm still kind of learning this marketing thing. So so luckily you have a team that has experience with this. So I'm pairing up with Noelle, and I'm putting the content together, right? And I'll share a link to this. And yeah, she's going to help me break this up. So yeah, we'll beautify it and out to the public. But yes, we will include links to the HOLs and all these things.
So I'll say, yeah, you're going to do that, right? Right.
Definitely.
Clearly, you haven't built a 12 Days of Happiness blog recently. I know that Noelle has great little icons for every day, right, with the tasks, and so you'll get to break that up. And then so that's the idea. Is one, that we'll have these 12 steps that you can do, right? 2, you're going to put that all in a blog article, right? 3, Noelle's going to be promoting it on social. So ideally, you don't have to take a lot of notes here as we're talking, because you're going to have this in your blog.
Definitely. And you know what, here, let me go ahead and post a thing. I'm going to post a link on the chat here. And unfortunately, it's a really long link. So I can post it up on LinkedIn, and we can definitely share it out. But what this is...
No, I want you to do is post the 12 Days of Happiness, and then drive people to the 12 Days of Happiness. I don't have to have cheat sheets to the 12 Days of Happiness. The 12 Days of Happiness is the cheat sheets, right? So just put together the 12 Days of Happiness blog and publish it out, right? And Noelle will be happy.
Perfect.
She has all her tags. So you'll publish that, and then there will be 12 days. And so one, you got the guide, right? So we're kind of giving people the verbal view of what you're putting in the 12 Days of Happiness, right? One is the guide, and then 2, probably some other links to deeper dive questions, right? Like, is there content out there that'll help me? Because one of the things I'm doing, I'm going through, and because I'm an internal Broadcom employee, I get access to all the training, right? So I've gone to the training site, and I've tweeted this out for people that follow me. I've tweeted out that I've did the core data center class, right? Which was 55 lessons or something like that. So it took me, I think, 3 days. Each lesson is maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And it has a vCenter simulator, right? So it kind of gives you the simulation in a smart web page, right? And you mouse around and click on things, and it knows where you've clicked, and then it won't go forward unless you click on the right thing and do the right thing. So it's a little bit of a cheating, but then as I was doing the lessons, as I got better, I stopped. I just would do it without paying attention to their cheating. I would just do it. And if I got it right, it would automatically move to the next phase, right? And so then I would just kind of I would do the action that it wanted me to have, like set the shares, right, or whatever, right, set up storage and that kind of thing. So it was good, and it was a good learning thing, and I did it in 3 or 4 days, and now I'm on VSAN, right? So I've moved on to the VSAN course, but I would say that these scores are pretty lightweight. I'm going to still have to, this is like, they had a different certification, VCTA or VTA, something VCTA, which is like, you're like a associate. It was something associate, right? And this isn't like your VCP. This is the cert. They don't do this cert anymore, but it used to be that. And this is the training for that cert. So I know I'm going to have to go back to the 12 days and do deeper dives, because it wasn't very hard, right? It was just taking you through all the vCenter options and explaining everything, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But it wasn't complicated, right? I didn't go into any vSphere properties and set properties in vSphere, which there's a bunch you can do. So I'll do that. So I did that.
Yeah, and the cool thing too, yeah, which again we're putting together these resources, and there are as part of the HOLs, there are some labs that you can just click through. Literally, people internally have created these videos, and they'll take you step by step. Right. For example, there's a certificate thing on how to perform that, and right. So
how to assign certs to your
exactly. Yeah. Right. Everything. Right. And you just study that kind of stuff, and that is again on the exam guide, and it's literally there's nothing to it. It just takes time. But if you want it,
so when you went and took the exam, did you feel like this stuff matched, right? Like that the questions were things that you had kind of covered, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and too, right? For anybody that has kind of touched the ARIA suite, for example, I imagine the audience is very familiar with vSphere ESXi. But
that one's
the ARIA,
right?
Yes, and like NSX, all these kinds of things. I would encourage people not to be too afraid, right? Kind of study up, do 1 or 2 HOLs, and take the exam, right? It's not. Yeah, if you've been doing this, if you've been in the game for 2 years, you should be solid. Yeah, it'll be okay.
Yeah, and for us that haven't been, right, like we haven't done any vSAN, we haven't done any NSX, then go do the HOL and spend time with it, right? I'm doing the training, then I'm going to go do the HOLs, and then I've signed up for a test, right? So I got my test coupon. VMware gives us a test coupon. I think I can get up to 3 test coupons, but I got to do it by the end of the year. So I can fail a couple times. I don't plan on failing. I plan on doing enough studying to pass it, because I want to be like what a community member would have to do here, right? Like, and so that way when I'm sharing, I can say, look, I haven't run vSphere in production since vSphere 3, right? That's the last time I did any training. It's the last time now I do have an ESX. I play with ESX. I have my own VMs, but I don't use vSAN. I didn't use NSX because it hasn't been there, and I really haven't. I didn't even drill down on some of the HA and DRS, right? Like I actually run in the cage. I don't even use vCenter. I just go directly, whatever the client is, right, to the ESXi host, right? And I don't even use vCenter because, and that means I can't vMotion. So I haven't vMotion in a while. I haven't, I didn't have HA. I didn't have DRS. I didn't have site recovery. So training went through all that, right, and introduced me to that, right. And when's the last time I set shares up? I just use a default, right. I didn't set up shares on my VMs because I don't. My ESX is just doing fun stuff. Like I set up all the code labs, right. I didn't care about that stuff, so it was good to just brush up on all that, right. And there's a couple things that I actually learned, right, like because I hadn't used data stores with vSAN. I didn't, you go, oh, the vSAN is just all direct attach, right? Like, okay, that's an object. Okay. So I understand it all once they explain it to me. I'm like, oh, this is straightforward. So this stuff is easy to learn. It's just, you haven't sat down and had anybody explain the vocabulary to me, right?
Yeah. And along with these links, along with the resources that we're putting together, right there, I understand people have different ways of learning, right? You can either sit down and read, and you can be golden, or you're more of a hands-on person, right? So it's so there's going to be links to both, and yeah, we're going to try as hard as we can, right? Yeah, we definitely want to help out the community.
Yeah, so I think that different ways to deploy templates. So there was stuff that I hadn't done, right? And then they're all brain dead easy, right? Just use the menu to figure out what to click on. But then then you do it, you understand it, and they take you through. And they gave us a lot of multiple choice questions, and so you just answer the questions and get half of them wrong. I'm going to be in trouble. So did you feel like I think the top score for VCF is 500. That's you got to get a 300 to pass. So what is that, like a D?
Yeah,
that's like a D, right? That's like 60%. Do the math on that.
No, you have to get in between 300 to 500. So I'm guessing that's a C. Right?
I think that's a D. I think that's a D. If I do, I do what I do 500 divided by some stupid divided by 300, or is it the opposite way around? Yeah,
it's a C. It's a C, and if you get like a 400, it's a B, and if you get 500, you got an A.
Divided by 500 equals 60%. That's a D. 70% is a C. 60% is a D. Anything below 60% and you get an F, right? So yeah, that's a D. That's a D. 60% is a D in college. That's how they measure that. And then 80% is a B, and 90%, anything above 90% is an A, right? So basically they're setting this, you just got to get a D on this test, right? Now, if you don't know anything about NSX, you could still probably get like a B. So then if you miss some of the VSAN stuff, you get a C. And so you can still miss a few ESX questions and get a D, 60%.
Yeah, there was so on LinkedIn, I think last week I put up a post, and I referenced a couple of some community members and their feedback. And what encouraged me to finally just to schedule the exam and try it was that somebody, I believe they were a V expert too. They said that they were in the same boat essentially. They didn't have expertise in all these things, but they felt pretty confident in 2, and then so in 3, and they're like, you know what, this is enough. So yeah, I felt how I said a lot of us have experience with vSphere and the components, and yes, if you have run a data center or something like that. Even if a home one, if you have 2 ESXi hosts and you've clustered them, then you have a little bit of experience, right? Content library, little things like that. And I was like, oh, hey, if this person here, right, a V expert, they've been contributing to the community for a while, right? You can kind of trust your community, right, and build rapport. So I went ahead and did it. Yeah,
I think that the reality is if you've used vSphere at all and you do a little studying on vSAN and NSX, then you're probably going to be fine, right? You're going to get a D plus, right? And I just looked at you. Didn't you get a 350? Didn't you get like a 350 something? Right? What was your number?
Eric, we're live. We're live.
What's your live? What was your number, dude?
You can say we got 495. You can say we got 495.
All right, I'll tell people what your number is. I heard he got like a 350. And the good news is I take 350 divided by 500. That's a 70%. So you did get a C. So you did get a C without doing too much studying. So, and that's what I heard. I heard that from Matt Hilstead and a couple others that they got C's. They got 350 plus without studying. They just went in naked, and said, take it. Right. So, and that's what I would say is that I think Franky's being generous. I don't think he studied very much either. I think he just went and took it because we all kind of want to see if you've used vSphere and had some experience with NSX and vSAN a little bit, what would your grade be? And the answer is, a C, right? You probably take it and get a C. If you want to study, you probably get a B. So the reality is you can go now. I'm going to study it because I'd like to get an A. I'd like to actually know enough that I can say, hey, but I'm going to take my time. I'm doing the courses, right? And so it's not fair for me because I am doing the courses, and I can say, yeah, I took on a week and a half. I did all the 3 courses, and if you have a VCF license, these courses are free to you. It'll be in your support portal, right? So you can go to I'm just going into my support portal. I have a Broadcom support portal, and I go in and then I'm taking the course that's on the e-learning section. And they got a bunch of other courses too. I'm just taking the 3 NSX, vSAN, and data center core, right? And that'll be good.
Yeah. So if you're a VCF customer, right, yeah, you can go to support.broadcom.com, and
Right.
as an upper right hand corner, you get your login or your portal.
Right.
And if you scroll down, if you have the full screen view, you'll be able to see the e-learning on the right. Yeah, it's just a little section. Click view all, and that should bring you upward to learning at Broadcom. And yeah, you can see your transcript or sign up for all these courses. But yeah, if you're a VCF customer, completely take advantage of this, right? And if you're not, right, yeah, definitely the HOLs and learn.
Well, and the 12 days
what
of
are
Christmas. Don't worry.
Of course,
Franky's 12 days of
12
Christmas is going to walk you through this. You're not going to have any problem. You're gonna do that. And so, yeah, I would say, and what I would say is that then, if you're in that support portal, right, that's where your VCF license, you're going to have an advantage tab, a community tab. That's what we're building out for release in early March. Is we're working with the ops people that run the portal, and they're building us a community advantage tab that when you go in, then it'll be there and it'll verify that you're an advantage member. And if you've got your VCP, it talks to the learning portal at a company called Alpine, and it finds out whether you've passed your exam, if you're current with your exam, and then you have to do a refresher, 10 questions every year for the next 2 years. So you don't have to take the VCP exam again. You just have to go in and tell us you're live and answer a couple questions, and then you go get your new license. So you only have to upgrade your VCP every 3 years, right? So and that's actually kind of good because there's new features that come out. So why not spend a little bit of time? And then if you take your test like 6 times in a row, then you're good, right? You'll be really smart by the end of 10, 15 years. You'll know the stuff backward and forward. So that works. I like that. Yeah.
No, that's cool. Yeah, that's exciting. It makes it super easy.
So it's good to get. The point is, it's good to get set up on that portal, right? If you haven't been in portal, I know a lot of people had trouble getting into the portal back in May in day 2 when they switched everything. But I think most of everybody's resolved now. Like, I mean, they've worked through all the accounts so that everybody now has access to their portal. I go into the portal, and the portal is actually nice. As an employee, I get an employee tab that gives me all the licenses for everything, right? Like, so that's like, have you seen that yet? Have you been there? Have you seen it? Yeah, they have an employee tab. I accidentally stumbled into it, and there's all the licenses, all the products right there. Here's your licenses, Mr. Eric, the employee. I'm like, oh, so as much as we've had to struggle through moving onto Broadcom platforms, I would say the platform, once I'm there now, I actually like what Broadcom's doing. Right, they are very efficient. They are very, one place to rule them all, which was not the VMware way. VMware way was there's like 1,700 platforms you had to go play with. Right, they're doing platform consolidation, but when they get it, then it is. They were like, I was going to put the license keys over on the vExpert app. Right, yeah. When you go Advantage, you pass your VCP, and then the vExpert app was going to verify that you had your Advantage, and then get you the keys, and they were going to give us all the keys. But then Broadcom came back and said, no. We want to have a central place. So the customer goes one place, gets all your stuff, right? Gets all the keys. Then they offered them to build it for us. And so as much as we struggle with Broadcom and the platforms that we have to go move everything into, and we've done that we're still trying to figure out what to do with the vExpert app, right? Do we move that onto Higher Logic? But the point is, it is actually really nice when they get it working, right? It's a central place. So that's where your Advantage status will be, and that's where you'll get your VCP, VCF verification and get your VCF bits, download bits, and license keys.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. So there are 2 exams, right? So there's the VCF one and then the VVF one. If you have VMUG Advantage and you pass your VVF, that's a different set of licenses that you can get. Correct?
Yeah,
you don't get the entire stack.
So if you pass the VVF, you do not need Advantage to get vSphere. So pass VVF, you come into the portal, you'll just get vSphere, right? You do not need to purchase Advantage to get your vSphere license, right? However, if you want to renew it after a year, then you'll need your Advantage. So without Advantage, you get vSphere for a year, right? Passing the VVF. But why would you do that? You go buy your Advantage, you get $125 coupon for the test itself. So you're going to save half the money just on the test, right? And then you can renew without a lot of trouble, right? Every year. So you get 3 years versus without Advantage, you only get 1 year with each certification. And then for VCF, you don't get it all without Advantage. So.
Or you become a V expert and get complimentary VMUG Advantage in 2025. Yeah. Do that too.
That's exactly right. So if you become a V expert, you get a free Advantage membership, which then gets you the discount of 125. And I would say that that's another avenue that people are like, oh, the expert, what's it? Is it dead? Is it going to be here? And the answer is
it's absolutely here.
yeah, absolutely here. And you're still going to be able to go get, you still got to get trained. There's no escaping the training right now. And I've been having conversations with William Lamb, right, about the training certificates. And, because he runs the home lab stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of people that have been giving him feedback that, community, what's going on with community is dead. We're, now we have to take a test in order to get our home lab licenses. And the answer is, I'd love to make that go away. But the truth is there's a lot to learn, and we've been skating along for a lot of years, not learning all the stuff that we should probably be learning. So for the time being, we're all going to take the VCP. We're all going to.
It's good for your career as well. I mean,
it is. Now, I also get that there's, we're working. As we've learned, but with flings and with the community and blogs and V experts and everything, we're working through how to integrate with Broadcom, how to culturally integrate with Broadcom. And then Broadcom's a great company. They want to do better things. Everybody, talks bad about them, but no, they're actually a good company. And, they take feedback from customers really well. So guess what? If customers give them feedback that they don't need VCP-VCF certification, over time, it wouldn't surprise me if Broadcom changes that, right? Like for right now, as we're doing the program and merging the programs and going forward, it's a reasonable thing to say, hey, let's get everybody trained on the new VCF. That's a reasonable response, right? Once everybody's trained, then do we have to train everybody again? Every 3 years? That's a long time away, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if, based on feedback and based on integrations and based on what we hear, that we change things, right? And things change at Broadcom pretty quickly. So I wouldn't project anything a year from now, right? Other than we'll still be here and we'll still be listening and the community will still be going.
Yep. Right? And from a personal perspective, and I mean this in every sense of the word, Broadcom has been an excellent company to work for, right? There was a perception before Broadcom purchased VMware, and looking back on it, it's been absolutely a fantastic ride so far.
Yeah, I would say I have no regrets for being at Broadcom.
None.
They're a good company. They have done everything we've asked them to do. They have given us ways to do everything we've asked them to do. We said we needed home lab licenses, and Hawk showed up in his limo and said, "Yeah, all right, that sounds like good. We should give everybody." And originally we were just asking for vSphere. We were just like, please, could we have vSphere for home lab licenses, right? And and he came back and he said, yeah, vSphere. Why would you just give him vSphere? Let's give him everything. Give him everything. And he did. And he's like, give him VCF, give him the full stack. And it wasn't even Hawk that said, oh, let's go get trained. That was more of a different, or, it was more the entire VCF division saying, hey, we want to get everybody on board, right? So they have been a good company to work for. They have been, professional, clean. They give you a lot of stock. They vest the stock. So all in all, and every single thing we wanted for a community, we've gotten, right? Like
we get things done quickly.
They do. They get things done quickly, right?
Yes.
So as much as everybody doesn't like that, we have VCF and we merge things together, like there's a lot of goodness in all this. And as you learn how to work with them, what I've heard from customers is that, oh, this is not bad. We're actually we don't have to pay for training anymore, right? We don't have to pay for customer support. It's different, right? So they definitely have a buy the big red easy button and then go have fun, right? So now the big red easy button costs more, right? They raise the price on the big red easy button for 70% of the customers. 30% actually they saw lower customer. This my take. I don't know. I'm not saying this is accurate. I'm just saying that from what I've heard from customers, good company over time, right? And they've, and certainly going through 2025, I think that's going to be reiterated more and more. They got great technology, and they are changing every time they make an acquisition. They get more culture. Like, the truth is that I think Broadcom only had, before we showed up, they had like 15 marketers. That's all they had, right?
Yeah.
When they bought VMware, they now have 120 marketers, right? And so guess what the culture of marketing is? Very community savvy, right? Because Broadcom didn't have marketing before, and now that they do have marketing, guess who the CMO is? Well, it's Joan Stone from VMware. So the marketing tone and the marketing and the decisions we're making, we're all just marketing decisions, right? Like, they're all VMware decisions. They're like, the VMware culture is now setting the tone for marketing at Broadcom, and that's never been the case before, right? So I got to say, it's been pretty good. Right.
And the product. One last thing, product's going to work together better as packaged as VCF than having them spread out. I remember the horror of going through and looking for licenses. I was looking through 25,000-30,000 SKUs to figure out which ones I need for vExpert, right? So I couldn't imagine, things not working well. Or as well as
more organized,
packaged as VCF.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're more organized.
Yeah,
and I do like this exam, right? I do like, and bringing the conversation back over to the exam and the requirements. Yeah, there are. It is a great way, right? I like that VCF is or whoever made that decision, right, to do this, because it definitely focuses everybody here, right? This is what this is. These are all the components, and everything is simplified, right? And why not simplify by making the one exam? Before, we had there were a ton of exams too, and I never, to be honest, I never bothered taking RE operations or one of those exams.
Right, you're not going to go take. I took the vSphere infrastructure exam. That was what I did.
Yeah,
VCP.
Exactly. Yeah, because those made a difference at work, with my manager or something like that. But like this one right here, now that we have, there's the administrator and then there's the architect one. Those, bless you. Those, right? You can take it just again, how you said, to prove to yourself that you actually know these things. See where you stand. If you want to take it just to show off a little bit, or if you want to help, you want to help your career for whatever reason it is, right? Yeah. This is it's a good exam, right? It is not over the top. And it covers everything, and just to see where you stand.
Yeah. That's what I would say. Is that it's been great for me. I've enjoyed the heck out of it because I have to do a lot of marketing tasks all the time, right? Like, there's just always marketing to do. There's always things that we're fixing tools, or doing stuff, or working with. I was talking on a call talking to William yesterday, and William Lamb, and looking at Frank Denneman, and things that we're doing in the next year, right? And like, you never get time just to sit back. It's very therapeutic to do training, right? And it's just therapeutic, right? It's great because I feel smarter now at the end of it. So learned several different things that and it's true because you're on the podcast and somebody's coming in and talking to you about clusters and and moving clusters and with the data for a cluster and like you're like, yeah, I've never really set up a cluster before, right? Like, I kind of know what they are, but I don't really know, right? So this is good. And what I heard is that, and this is just hearsay, I don't know how accurate this was, but I did hear that the VCF division not only is requiring us to get trained to get our home lab licenses, they're requiring everybody in the division to go do their VCF training, right? So we're not alone in this, right? They're drinking the Kool-Aid too. They're making themselves drink the Kool-Aid, right? Like, and so I think, Frank, I think it was you that was telling me that you were telling me that, the reason there are these free class internal class coupons is that they're doing it for the whole VCF division, and we can piggyback on that in order to get the free test. Now, we wouldn't pay anyway. It would be our department that pays, but my department doesn't have to pay for these. So Corey, you got till the end of the year, it's not too late. You can, you can start taking your V Center core training because they've given, and they give us like multiple chances also, like three coupons or something like that to take the test.
Oh, and also this year, so if you book your exam, right, all the exams are taken through Pearson VUE. If you book it from now to the end of the year,
you send me a little present, little
no. So you get a free retake starting in January, from January through April, and there's a code. There's a code that you can go in there.
So if you fail, they'll give you a coupon that you can come in and take it again next year, like a happy holiday. Sorry to make you feel bad. Here you go. Right. So I have another question. I know this is personal, so you can decide not to tell us, but you don't have to say anything, but I'll say it instead of you saying it, so you're not gonna escape. But so that we're talking about the VCP-VCF administrator guide, right? You know where I'm going here. Right? Now if you aren't watching his face right now, he's grimacing. So that's the VCF administrator, but I hear there's a VCF architect certification as well, right? So how well does this lead into the architect exam?
If you follow the 12 days, if you follow these steps right here, it'll give you an excellent footing. And
there'll be some more work you'll have to do. You're not going to take one that then pass the next. Like maybe if you did this and you got like a C on the VCP-VCF, I have a feeling you'd get like a D minus or just an F++ on the architect without doing extra studying, right? So there is extra studying required, right?
Oh, there is. Yeah, and so how Eric is saying, when I was surprised, right? I was surprised when I passed it on my first try, the administrator one.
The VCP-VCF. You were surprised, administrator.
Yes,
right.
The administrative one. So I was extremely happy, and then I used the second voucher to attempt the architect one, and that one I did not pass it. It wasn't a complete mess, but it was great, right? And now I have my code.
According to you told me you almost passed. You were like very, very close, just a couple of questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, that's not bad, right?
No, it's not bad. Yeah, but for that one, you're probably going to need the 12 days, the tips here, but definitely hands-on.
Maybe a study guide, right? Write some stuff
definitely
down.
Definitely a study guide. Yeah.
Study guide. Yeah.
The nice thing is for that exam, there's also a study guide. Right. So if you start here, right, and build a nice base, you can go through there. And that is a different set of training, a different set of Googling, to be honest with you. But that is definitely passable. I'm going to pass it next week. Yeah.
You're going to try again. You're going to try again. Well, I hear that if you get a free retake next year in case you can't get through it, right? You can definitely do that.
Yeah.
So on that test, do they kind of give you like speeds and feeds and stuff? And do they give you like tricky things like, lay the storage out this way and then, or should we lay it out that way? Which is better? Like they give you things, A, B, and C kind of questions around architectural questions, how are they presenting those?
Yeah, no. So those questions are, so imagine you're right. Imagine you're a, not a sysadmin, but imagine you're a consultant. And you're meeting a customer, and they give you different scenarios, and they say, okay, these are our business requirements, right? And then how would you do this? What is the best way? There are certain terms that you need to be familiar with, but there are some questions that you have to read once or twice to make sure that you get it.
Yeah,
but
you understand it, right.
that it is a very fun exam.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I'm going to need to take that, at some point as well. I think that's my goal, is to get my VCP-VCF, but then also, as administrator, but then, try to go in as an architect, right, and see if I can be a consultant in this space, right? Just
definitely. Yeah, so as soon as I pass that one, then we'll we're gonna do the same exact thing. So it won't be during these 12 days of holidays,
Yeah,
but
you'll have the
yes, definitely
architect,
something for next year.
something for
Yes,
next year, right? Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, early next year.
And that's good because, as Corey pointed out, it's good for your resume, right? Like you can make your money on that, right, over time. And happy
Yeah.
about that. And then with private AI, come back to the data center, and that's my next one. I want to go take a private AI. I got to get, not only do I have to get certified at these levels, but then I have to get smart on AI, right? Like, what does it mean to set up an AI infrastructure? What's that AI architecture look like, right? With GPU management, right? Like, how am I going to do that, right? And then I got to go take an NVIDIA class on what are the GPU, what is it? The black something, what are all the GPU, rack mounted solutions that they have, right? So you could actually come in and know what AI framework would you like to do, right? What hardware is the right hardware for the right level of things, right? And for what models are out there. So I've been working on the code lab, Franky, for VMUG Connect. I'm trying to think of, we're going through that, and what we want to do is a private AI lab that shows you different open source LLMs, right? And how to set one up, in order to, use it, and then how is it actually mapping the data, right? So like what's the internals of an LLM? Because all of us heard LLMs, and we know that there's an open source LLM. Facebook has an open source one. Google has their own LLM. Azure and OpenAI has their own LLM, right? And then you can have your own private LLM, which can run, on-prem, or which is what private AI is, right? Yeah. So VMware's private AI, and so then how would a code session would be really good about what's the difference between the LLMs, right? And then what's the internals of an LLM look like? And is there a code lab that you could tweak the open source LLM, right? So that's where we're going, right? So should be fun.
Yeah, no, that
But you need
fun.
you need to be certified for VCF first, right? Then you got to get architect, and then we got to do private AI, and you learn about private AI and how we're laying it out. Then you have to do GPU management, and then we're even talking about, like, well, what about the chips that Broadcom's making, right? They got their AI chipset that they're building, and how does that play in? We're obviously never going to order our own AI chipsets, right? That's what Google and OpenAI is actually ordering chipsets from Broadcom, and that's one of our divisions. So we have access to their marketing and their technology, right? Like we can talk about it, right? And that would be fun as a level 200 lab. So level 100 lab is, how do you mess with an LLM, or what are the LLMs? What are the open source LLMs? What are the LLMs? What are they good for? And then let's look inside an LLM, see if we can make some sense out of it, and teach it. Right, so that when you're, as an IT administrator, setting up private AI, and you're working with people that are using LLMs, you'll be able to understand what they're talking about, right? Yeah, you're not going to do that as a living, but that would be cool. And then, and then we'll go from there. Then level 200 lab, I forget what the level 200 lab is. That's the one level 100 lab, but there is a level 200 lab there that was in my brain, but I forget what it is now. Shoot.
Nice. No, here, what's really, really cool, one of the things that's really, really cool about working here is that, so here in our chats,
the 200 is the chips. I'll get to that. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, hearing one of the chats, right, they talk about LLMs, and so that is like a completely different world, right? So you go over there, you look at all that kind of stuff, but over here on this side, it's like, oh man, this is my bread and butter in vSphere. So then it was kind of like the same story with like Kubernetes or something like that, and like how do you go from BI admin to DevOps? But now the view with this exam, and why I like it, and then over to the next one, right, is I was speaking to, oh my gosh, what's his name? Ewan, right? And how we need to start telling the story of how you can become how you're a BI admin now, but get into the mentality of, no, you're a private cloud architect, right? Because yes, you are in charge of all these things, and that's what VCF brings. So good stuff.
Yeah, I think if you are certified as a VCF, and you do know VCF, you are an architect right away because it is all one big component, right? And that's good. And then yeah. And then what I was saying for a 200 lab that we could do next year at Explore would be what does an AI chip actually bring? So the 100 is you learn about the LLM and you learn how that's architected, right? And then you learn how to set it up under VCF. So we're trying to make all the little nooks run on VCF now, right? With extended memory, right? Not extended memory. What is it?
NVMe.
Yeah. No. We have the new feature coming out in 9 called something memory. Targeted memory. That's not targeted memory. Can't remember the name. But anyway, it's in. We talked about it on podcasts so far. But anyway, you can get the nooks to run tiered memory. Thank you. Tiered memory. And so you can get VCF running on a NUC with tiered memory, right? So we're going to do that for the labs. And then we're going to put private AI on top of them, right? Then we're going to teach you the LLM and how LLMs behave on that. And the only problem we have is like, where do we use some GPU resources? Because right now, the NUCs don't have GPUs at all, right? So like, and I got to go look and see, can we get a NUC that has a GPU? That Intel has a GPU. So we're going to look at that, see how that works. But then the 200 level is on how does the chip behave, right? So instead of using a GPU, there's going to be custom silicon in all the clouds, right? And it would be fun to see like what's the benefits of Broadcom's GPU strategy, right? Or custom silicon for AI, right? And that would be fun too, right? To take a look at that and just bring all the IT guys that are coming to our shows, right? Up to speed with, not only private AI, which everybody will have, right? But then also, what do you run into when they're building data centers out with kind of like we did with ARM, right? But now with custom silicon for specific AI workloads. So that'll be cool. And then we can get our IT, our VCF private AI architect certification, right? And if you get that, then you can have home labs with custom silicon chips from Broadcom.
Nice and easy. See, perfect.
Yeah,
see, but now
easy,
you just added
easy.
the certification. There it
Right.
is.
And this is the point of the 12 days of holiday cheer is that we're geeking out over the holidays. I always geek out, right? I looked at the cost of the little dog robots, right? You can get one of these dog robots and then you can write dog code. And then I looked at, they have an Android one, but the Android one costs like $65,000 to be able to program an Android. And I thought it'd be fun to have an Android and bring it to like the code events, right? That would be super cool to have like an Android that walks around and then have a coding project but that's far away from what we do, bread and butter. Plus is $65,000, and this is not the old VMware. This is the new Broadcom by VMware by Broadcom, where we have to buy our own sodas and popcorn at work now through the vending machine. So
yeah, I like that you talked about the 12 days and like just kind of nerding out when and as soon as I passed my exam, right? Well, not as soon, but I passed the exam and I spoke to Noel and we brainstormed, right? We did the marketing thing, and so then I told my wife, I was excited. I was like, hey, we accomplished this, and then now we're going to turn this into this in order to help our community, and I was like, and then we came up with another 12 days thing. Because last year was 12 days of home labs, and this year, this year's super cool, right? Super exciting. And then she looked at me, right, and just what I imagine a lot of us experience with with people that don't work in tech. She's like, "Man, you're such a nerd." And I was like, "Yeah, this is cool. That this to me, right, is fun. Yeah, especially if we can help other people."
And I think that's the benefit of being an IT guy, or IT person, is that we get to be very nerdy. Right, like we do, because our brains don't hurt from writing code all day long. Like our brains are busy stressing out over whether the machines are running, but you do have some brain cycles at the end of all this to get to do some nerdy fun stuff, right? And a lot of guys do this, right? You look at their home desktop environments; they're all geeked out because you do have some brain cycles, right? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And again, right, because we commute to work, some of the resources too that we're including here. For example, I was looking at a playlist on YouTube. Shank or Shank, I don't know how you say his first name, but he works here at Broadcom too, and he has a great series, right, of just getting started. You know, takes you through VCF again. These links will be included here in the 12 days, but it's things like that, right? Things that you can listen to. Yeah, and I'll try and look for podcasts too, where people are also sharing information. Corey's going to help out with vExperts and blog posts and information that they're also putting out. Yeah, we want to make this as concise as possible, and yeah, just help everybody out. So we're excited.
Well, I don't think it's 12 days away from the holiday yet. Like I think we all go disappear on like the 18th if I look at the calendar. So you have a few more days to get your blog article up there, buddy. So awesome, cool stuff.
Excellent.
And Corey Romero, I do remember that the vExpert app does kind of keep status of the activities that you've been doing for vExperts. Like, so if you are doing something interesting, can't you go into the vExpert app and kind of document it? So the next time you apply, it's just all right in the tool.
Yeah, year round. So you can go right in the middle of the year and add in your speaking session or whatever you've done, and keep like a journal diary of what you've been doing over the year.
Yeah. Because I've been studying, I am going to do a blog on my study habits, right? Like, and what my score was. Like, I am trying to go for, I got to do better than Franky, which means I got to get like a B, right? Because he got a C. So, I'm gonna definitely document what I had to do and what the score was. And I'm going for the B, the 80%. We'll see if I can get it.
We want unphotoshopped screenshots of your test score.
I heard that the test, like, I was going to try to hide a camera so I could take some screenshots of the test and then post it. But I know I'd get fired for that. And I heard that the proctors actually, if you have like a teddy bear up on the shelf hiding your camera, they'll actually make you take the teddy bear down. And then if you have a camera there, they get you in trouble. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take it for legit. And then I'm going to post what I had to do to study for it. And then I'm going to do the architect. I'm excited about that, Franky. I'm heading that way, right? Like, I want to do that, get my cert, and then I want to do AI, and I want to do the AI lab, and then I'm going to go to OrCAD. I'm going to lay out my own AI chip, build my own thing, and get a fab in China. Yeah, I'm going to go crazy, nerd out.
We're
Running out of time here. This is we do live stream on the vBarbecue, as well as we're live streaming right now on the Code channel. So you can go join Code. Go to code.vmware.com. It'll redirect you into the Code community, and you can click on the join the newsletter, and vExperts. If you've done some work in the community, go apply for vExpert. And you know what? If you apply and you don't make it, at least you'll understand. You'll get connected with a vExpert Pro, and you'll know what to do to get a vExpert, because you do get that free advantage every year. So, and if you're listening this far, all the way in to 58.27 seconds, 58 minutes, 27 seconds, you're at the end of the podcast. And so you deserve to be a vExpert just for listening to the end. You should put that in your app. I listen to all the community podcasts. That'll get you a lot of points. No problem. Anybody have anything you did for barbecue? If not, we'll close this up. I have not barbecued anything. It's raining here. So.
I smoked the turkey. I spatchcocked it, and
no kidding.
Came out.
So spatchcock is like when you cut it down the inside and splay it out. Is that what that is?
Yeah. You remove the spine, and then you turn it over, and then you crack
it down.
Yeah, and then
chickens.
Yeah, but you got to be careful. So you got to have foil ready to put on various areas based on the temp. So I put thermometers in the breast, in the legs, down in the thighs, and so depending on where which one's climbing higher, I'll put foil over it to kind of.
Wait, but you what did you do? You smoked it, or you?
Yeah, smoked it.
Smoked it. Well, all right. Yeah, that's hard to do. Now I understand. Yeah, smoking a big bird like that is just difficult because the temperature management is an art form. So I can see that.
Yeah. But it's delicious. I mean, probably one of the juiciest turkeys I've ever had. My wife actually said, from now on, this is the way we're making Thanksgiving turkeys.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
Did it taste like smoky smoke?
No, I mean,
No,
just a little bit, but not
much.
not much at all.
But just juicy, just a juicy bird.
Just juicy bird,
Yeah.
just delicious.
I made 2 16-pounders and I had lots of leftovers and we made good gravy. So the drippings, I don't know what you do. How do you make gravy when you smoke it? Do you still have enough juice?
You know what? I don't know. My wife takes care of gravy.
Yeah,
she makes it some other way.
Probably just use chicken stock and
Yeah.
put a pot with some flour and mix it up and away you go.
Yeah. But I mean, I grabbed one of the legs and it just literally bone just pulled right out.
Franky Barragan, thanks for doing all that work. Thanks for bearing your soul on your test scores. I appreciate it. I am honored and super excited myself to see where we go with this. And no matter what I get, I'm sure I'm going to say I got an 80. A B on my test. 400, baby.
If you got an 80, he's going to round it up to a 99.
499. That's a perfect score because I'm a marketing guy. There you go. All right, guys. Until we're going to be back next week. I think we got a guest from Europe coming in to talk about one of his blog articles. So we're back on schedule to be doing the podcast every week. Until then, everybody go get out there and do some holiday shopping and look forward to the 12 days of happy hollowness for the week for over the holiday season, and can't wait to Corey is collecting stories on how you passed your VCP-VCF cert. So if you do, reach out to him, give him the story, write a blog article on it, become a V expert. It's all going to be a great 2025. I'm super excited about where we're going.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.